Good afternoon, James.
Afternoon, Lynn. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you so much for stepping in for our last one this year, actually, because I've got networking next Friday, and then I think I'm babysitting for the next Friday, all of the next Fridays for my grandchildren. So Instagram, I was a bit of a late one coming on to Instagram. And my baby was LinkedIn. It always has been, and it probably still is. But I have embraced now Instagram, and I am getting to know it. But I find sometimes that I might get thrown out of the grid,
Yeah.
and then I'm in stories, and then I can't find my way back. So I struggle with all the technical side of it and everything. But you're going to give us the sort of the benefits and everything of it, aren't you? So and I know everyone loved it when you did this before. So fire away.
Yeah. The reason why I picked Instagram is because certainly the recent question we're getting is why even as a business should we even use it? And it's a really interesting one because I think so many businesses are almost stuck where they're happy to use Facebook because they use it from a personal point of view. They're happy to use LinkedIn because everybody's on LinkedIn now. So I think because it's almost that comfort blanket of, I will just use Facebook, we'll just use LinkedIn, where Instagram, I actually pulled some statistics for this together. And it was just amazing at the results that I'd found. And one of the results that I found was over 2 billion active users are on Instagram.
Wow.
Which is on a monthly basis, which
Wow.
is absolutely incredible. It also has the most engagement out of all of the platforms. So if you compare it to Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, X, if you want to call it now, I know it's still as a Twitter, but it actually has got the most engagement out of all of them. From a point of view from social media where everything is going visual now, everything is very much video heavy when it comes to social media these days. Photo isn't doing as well, certainly from an AI point of view. People aren't trusting what they can see on social media now. So the more that businesses can do video and put people's faces to camera is so important. And that's why Instagram is becoming a trusted platform more than anything now. And also it is the fastest growing platform in terms of discovery. There
Wow.
was news that come out last week where Google have just announced that they've partnered up with Instagram, and they are now doing something called social signals, which essentially means that the more that you are posting on your social media platforms and certainly your Instagram, what Google does now, it actually recognizes Instagram as an SEO tool. And so the more that you post on your social media and your Instagram now, the higher you rank on Google.
Wow.
So the reason for that is that Google is recognizing that there are a lot of businesses out there that are trusted but also untrustworthy. So where, for example, people know now and businesses will know the amount of bots and the amount of sort of companies that come in and say, oh, we can promise you this, or we can deliver this for you, and they might not necessarily even be businesses. They might just be bots or scammers that want to get into your businesses. So what Google's trying to do now is that they're trying to recognize and give almost recognition for businesses that are putting time and effort into their social media. So the more that you now put time and effort into social media, and the more that you can show that person behind the company, Google are now actually recognizing that and are ranking your social media higher on
That's
the
an
top.
amazing benefit for businesses
Yeah.
because You know, I mean, SEO is one of the main things. Being found is one of the, you know, because it's so busy and loud out there now. I
Yeah,
mean, when I got my first website, £200 through the Kent Messenger, it was like, you know, nobody was on there,
yeah,
and that's when people were starting to. I mean, I was a bit slow off the mark, to be honest. I got the website, but then people were building up their businesses and selling .com businesses and everything. They
yeah.
got millions for it. But now you couldn't sell a .com business in the same way as
No.
you could back then. So it's really, really important. That's an amazing insight for everybody, I think.
Yeah, I was listening to a talk the other day from a top marketing company based in London. The managing director was talking about it, and 2026 actually will be the breakthrough year for social media and for businesses, more than ever now, because of and it's down to AI. And I'm I'm an advocate for AI. Like I back it, and I know that we've got some talented AI companies even within Synergy. We've got
Yeah, yeah.
Sim, who
Mm,
does Ascend AI.
mm.
That they are extremely talented in what they do, but they do it from a basis of they generate and they want to promote businesses where. But I think there is, just like social media, there is also a downside to AI. And I think that the downside being is that the amount of just generated images that you can make through AI now and make it look you can't even sometimes tell the difference between somebody.
I know.
You can't even tell the difference between a brand now or a business. And we are trying to tell local businesses, certainly within Kent now, the more that you can show your real authentic self on social media now is much more important, even more than ever, I think now, because of just how much AI has taken over, how much even scammers are out there now. So I think it's that, certainly from a networking point of view,
Mm,
you've always stood by that know, like, and trust.
mm, mm.
Synergy have always stood by that, haven't you?
Meeting people in person is
Yeah,
important. Mm,
people buy from people, don't they?
mm.
And that's going to be the same on social media. It is the same on social media.
So how can Instagram, you know, what tips can you give to people to, I mean, I know video is an important tip. I mean,
Yeah,
I was over the moon this morning because I did I just shared a very short video. I think it was something like 7 seconds.
yeah.
Wasn't very long, and it was just everyone at the Whitstable event pulling crackers. And
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
yeah, and it was basically you had three women and the man there, and it was really funny because the man didn't get any prizes. So he held up his empty hands, and one of the girls handed him over because she got two. But it was a very short one, but it had over 430 views, which and normally on Instagram I get about 130. You know, if I
Yeah.
get over 100, I'm over the moon. But I was really chuffed with that because do you think it's because it was only 7 seconds long?
Yes. So, but believe it or not, people's attention spans now are just next to nothing.
Mm,
They don't want to be viewing a video over a minute long. So my biggest suggestion when you're coming to video content for Instagram is that you don't have your video content any longer than a minute, because people will simply switch off.
mm,
The more in the video, in terms of your messaging and your clean, concise messaging in both the video and the caption in text, where you make it simple for people to understand what that video and what that content is about, is much more easier for people. So if you have the editing skills where you can put the text across the video, um, is better, because
is it
in
better to
terms,
have text? Because I never have text.
yes, it is, because certainly it goes from a learning point of view. You have different types of learners, where you have visual learners, where all they want to do, or the only way that they can learn is by visually seeing it in front of them. So by having text that they can read on a video where it's super engaging, it captures their attention, but they can read exactly what's going on within the space of 30 seconds. You think for a full 30 seconds, you've got that person's attention all the way through, and that information that you want to get across to them is also in that video. And then you've got their whole attention without switching off, where some people's attention might be they want to read a bit more information, and the text on the video might be a little bit off-putting. So that's why it's really important that you also mix up your content. So for example, like you've done, where sending you, and you do it perfectly. Obviously, I think that's probably from your social media background you go with, is that you'll have videos of people and your events, but you'll also have videos of yourself. And that really does gauge the mixture of the business element of it, where you're showing the people within your events, but also because you're showing yourself, you're showing that personality and that people buy from people again, isn't it? And so
yeah, and I mean, even the crackers thing, you would think that's nothing to do with business networking, but I think when people were pulling the crackers, it was showing that they're, you know, they were having a bit of fun. It was all a little bit of a giggle, and people think, well, what on earth has that got to do with business?
Yeah.
But they're sort of building that trust through, and that's what's so important, isn't it? And that's why it's important that you attend in-person events. I mean, you know, what do you think Instagram, you know, can you reach out to people on Instagram in the same way as you can in person?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there is this thing about Instagram that it needs to be perfect and polished, and it needs to be a camera put on a tripod, and it needs to be all this microphone videos up. It really doesn't. And and for me, when you go back to that point of people buy from people, they want to see your raw, authentic self. Where if you click on our social media, for example, your social media, we're no different to the way you see us in person. No. So why should it be any different on social media? And so, because people will do business with you because they like you as a person. You could be sat. So for example, I could be in a networking room of 4 other social media companies, and we're all really great at what we do, but that business could decide that they want to go with someone else and not us because they have that relationship with that other person. It's nothing to do with the quality of our work. We're all really good in our areas of what we do, but they just get along with that person better. And that is really important when it comes across in your social media, that you holding up a phone and you doing a 30-second or a 20-second video of what you're up to, or what your business is up to, or what your clients might be up to, is actually completely fine.
Because it was actually funny last night, because one of the things that we did was we on one table, only one of the people was wearing a Christmas hat. And because she was the only one wearing the Christmas hat, I went up and I went, now, Rachel of Point of View Glazing. And she went, oh, showed her logo off. So the video was all, so I mean, that was perfect, because it was giving her that sort of exposure that the others didn't get because they weren't wearing their Christmas hats. So that was really good. So I think I did that one on Instagram this morning, just shared it. I mean, how many posts do you think you should put on Instagram, you know, a day?
It doesn't have to, I think it all depends on what you want out of social media and what you want out of Instagram. Is it a case of that you just want a simple presence where people can find you? And if that's the case, a couple of times a week is completely fine. But you've got to make sure that with them a couple of times or 3 times a week, you're posting of quality, not quantity. You're not just, when it comes to posting, you're not just selling, and you're not just being a salesperson, because people will get bored of that and they will just switch off. You need to be serving all the time that you're on social media. You need to be giving advice. You need to be giving insights, because you need to gain people's trust. So you need to give over knowledge that you're almost prepared to give away for free, because you need to be able to do that, because you need to people need to be able to know that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And if you're not prepared to give that information away, you're never going to gain people's trust. So I would suggest that 2 or 3 times a week is more than enough. But with the posts that you do, it needs to always be of good quality information every time that you post, because we immediately need to know that when we click onto your business Instagram, we immediately need to know what you do as a company. If I'm clicking onto a carpenter's firm, I immediately need to know that they are a carpenter. I immediately need to know if, for example, I'm looking for a photographer, for example, I need to know what they do. Are they a specialist in a wedding? Are they a specialist in children's parties? Like, what is their specialist area? If I'm going after a construction company, but they specialize in kitchen and bathrooms, well, I need to see on their Instagram that their specialist area is kitchen and bathrooms, and their Instagram is full of them and also kitchen and bathrooms, because that's their specialist, if that makes sense. It doesn't need to be full of graphics and fancy photos and things. It just needs to be clear, concise, and full of information that a reader or a user can click on and immediately know what that business does.
Well, one of the things that I found when I was running the dating agency was, obviously I ran events so people could meet face to face, but a lot of people prefer the online because they can hide behind the camera, I used to say.
Yeah.
But with social media, I sort of find it's the same. Now, I'm very active, particularly on LinkedIn, but I do also try and do it as much as I can on all the other platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I go in and I comment on people's posts, because I think it's really, really important. Now, we've got 155 members now, and I'm really surprised that we don't get more comments on our Instagram, particularly when, people have been to an event, they want that. Say we're talking about Whitstable, for example, or we're with Avenues Tennis, for example, next week. Why don't the venue go on and comment? Why don't the members go on and comment? Because if they did, then business people that they're dealing with would see it and it would get out to more people. I know they're helping me as well, but then obviously I'm very good at reciprocating. Well, I'm very good at doing it even when they don't reciprocate back. What would you advise to get more comments? Because that is the best type of engagement, isn't it?
So I know that when I've clicked on your networking events, like posts before, I noticed that you'll always, like, I know at the Dartford one yesterday, you tag Browns in, didn't you? You tag their social media accounts in. But what it might be worth to do, that just at the bottom of the post, that you find, I know it might take you a bit of time, but you also find the businesses that you've got there on the night and you tag their social media accounts in it, because then that way it creates their leverage, and also they actually then can't miss it, because they'll get a notification straight into their Instagram app that Synergy Networking have tagged them in a post. And hopefully then at that point, because I think if you're just somewhere on their feed, it might be that they scroll past it or they don't quite see it. But if you're tagging that business in the social media post.
So do you think I should tag them? Because one of my competitors, funnily enough, has really good engagement on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I noticed every event he does, or every post he does, he tags in everybody. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that must get right on their nerves. But his engagement is a lot higher than ours. And that is potentially why then.
Yeah. Because they almost can't get away from it, if that makes sense, because it goes, I know it sounds bad, but what it does is that it goes straight into their notification box. And so they immediately then will receive, certainly on Instagram, they will immediately receive that Synergy Networking Events has tagged you in an Instagram post. And what now happens is that Instagram, I don't know if you've noticed it, but they've introduced that repost button, which that then means what happens is that if they can add it to their story, which their followers will see on their story, but that repost button now will also allow Synergy Networking to pop up on their feed. So any of their followers or anyone looking at their profile Synergy will also pop up on that business's feed.
So that's easy for me because obviously I've got lots of members. But say I'm a electrician.
Yeah.
and I'm doing a post about external lighting in a garden, my
Yeah.
customer might not even be on Instagram or wouldn't want to be tagged in anyway. So, how do they get people to comment on their posts? How do they get that, important engagement?
So this is where, and believe it or not, hashtags is still a thing.
Okay.
Hashtags is still a thing on Instagram, but it's really important when it comes to your hashtags. And Instagram have also now reintroduced, literally last week, have introduced the same as TikTok. You can actually now only go a maximum of 5 hashtags.
I know, I can't, because TikTok used to be like 30.
Yeah, so you can't do it you can't do it. You've probably noticed in
Yeah.
TikTok you can't do it.
Yeah, no.
And I'm not sure. I don't know if Instagram have brought it in yet, but I think they're bringing it in. I read an article literally the other night that they are now also reducing it to 5 because, and it goes back to the SEO side of it, is because they essentially want the hashtags to be more keyword based, and they want it to be more industry and location rather than just just an industry throw off hashtag where it means nothing. They now want companies to sort of take their time with their hashtags and be sort of like industry specific, but also location specific. So that's what I would say in terms of engagement. Obviously, video engagement comes into it, but also hashtags will come into it as well now. From an electrician point of view, getting people to comment on their stuff, liking, and also then commenting on other businesses, just to show that you're collaborating with other people in your sector. That's collaboration is still absolutely key to any industry.
Yeah, I'm always commenting on BNI events.
Yeah.
Bless them.
I know. So, but yeah, hashtags. Yeah, people, we get that question a lot. Is it still a thing? And yes, it is. It's still really, really, really important when it certainly comes to Instagram anyway.
And how much time do you think? So, I spend a lot of time engaging. I get up in the morning. That's what I'm doing, on all the platforms. But how much time would you say a normal business person would need to spend engaging with the people, their potential customers? I mean, this is something when we were running a social business, we used to say all the time. You need to go and be seen. Go and comment on your potential customers' post, because if you do that, they're going to see your branding, they're going to see your logo, and they can't ignore it. If you're commenting on, say you want solicitors, if you went in and commented on all of Whitehead Monkton's posts, they're going to see you. They can't, or it might only be the marketing lady, but it's going to be like, who is this woman? And then they start looking at you, don't they? So, I'm as I say, I'm pretty hot on that, but a lot of people don't realise the sort of advantages of doing that, do they?
No, but I'd say 1 or 2 hours a week. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be, because, like you say, you make a really good point of you don't want to come across too strong that you start annoying people.
Yeah.
But 1 to 2 hours a week where you just sort of scour the competitive market as well, because that's always good, because they might be doing something that you're not doing. You might pick up some tips that they're doing that you're not doing, but I think it's always good to stay on top of the trends within your industry. So just spending, I'd say a maximum of a couple of hours a week commenting, liking stuff, but just keeping your eye on things within your industry, because certain industries, I know financial, like with a budget and things like that that's come out yesterday, the financial services is changing all the time. So that then leads on to accountancy services that then changes all the time. And then that has a knock-on effect for smaller businesses, doesn't it? So I think you need to make sure that, and it's a really key piece of advice, that you are keeping an eye on your industry week by week by week, because it's changing all the time. Like certainly for me with social media, just literally in the last like 2 weeks, like Instagram has obviously changed the hashtag. Then Google has come up with the social signal thing. Like it's ever changing. Like the amount that LinkedIn's changing, like that's going very much Facebook heavy more now, isn't it? Where you sort of see more personality side of it. Instagram is becoming more like it's going down the route of Facebook with like Instagram ads and sponsorship posts and things like that. So they're becoming more business heavy. Instagram more and more day by day, week by week. So my advice would be you need to keep on top of the trends within your industry and spending a couple of hours a week, I think.
How do you measure, or can you measure on Instagram, like on LinkedIn? I measure myself against my competitors. Is there a way? I know there's a way of doing it on Facebook as well. Is there a way of doing it on Instagram?
Yeah. So if you go into the back end of Instagram, where you go analytics, it will show you essentially all of the reports from your views, and it will actually show your non-followers against your followers. And if you go deeper in, it will actually show what your non-followers, what hashtags they're actually clicking on, the ones that you've put out. So what we tend to do for our clients with Instagram is that the most clickable hashtags that are viewed by users throughout the month for that business, we will actually tailor the hashtags to what people are viewing the most. And that's really important that you keep on top of the metrics inside Instagram, because it will also give you the location from where people are searching. And it's really important that the areas of your location that your business profile is getting viewed in, it's the location around you. So for example, if you're based in Kent and you've got users from Birmingham and Liverpool and Manchester, and there's nowhere in Kent being seen, there's obviously something that's gone wrong within the location of your posts. And that will be down to your hashtags. That will be down to the fact that you've not hashtag Kent, you've not hashtag Kent business. And so then and then if you notice now, I don't know if you've noticed it, where you create a post and just below where you write the caption, there'll be somewhere where you can tag your location you're in.
Yes, yeah.
So it's like, it'll be like, so for us, it'll be like Rochester, Medway, Maidstone. Like,
well, I always tag the venue,
all the venue, whatever it is. It's really vital that you do that, because it means that whoever is then based in that location on Instagram will pick up your business, will pop up on their feed if they are based in that location. So it is really important when you are creating a post, you make sure you tag where you are. Like, and I know people might be like, oh, I don't really know. I don't really want people to know where I am. But you tagging Maidstone or Rochester or Medway, it's such a broad area that it's still safe to do so.
Yeah, I mean, we used to, tag in Maidstone, Kent, when we were running a social media business, and the people who bought it from us said they couldn't believe how, great our website was, because, the website was really, I mean, that was one of the main reasons I think they bought the business, because the SEO on it was so good, and we were being found all the time for social media Kent, social media Maidstone. So therefore we had a lot of our clients basically came from Kent because they wanted to deal with someone local to them. And we were coming up as Maidstone, so therefore we had companies in Maidstone, which was great for us because it meant we could then go and visit them. So that was really good.
And it's really, really important as well when it comes back to the bio in your Instagram. It's really important that you are clean and concise of what your business name is, what you do, and where you are based, because that also then links back to the Google SEO, because Google SEO and website SEO are now picking up the link between your social media bios and your Google SEO. So it's really important now that you have your location and what you do in your Instagram and your social media platform bios.
Okay, well, I think I've got that because they'll sort of set all mine up anyway. Well, apart from TikTok. So you want to contact, like on LinkedIn, you can you can message people. So if you're linked to them, you can message them, and also if you're not linked to them, you can message them.
Yeah.
What about on Instagram? How do you feel about direct messaging people? So say I want a tree surgeon, for example, to join my Dartford group.
Yeah.
Would you suggest that it's a good to direct message tree surgeons on Instagram?
I'm very like sort of, don't know how I feel about sort of like not cold calling, but it's a film
It's
of
cold calling, yeah, really.
it is a form of it, isn't it? And I feel a bit uneasy about that. Certainly, where if you've not connected with them, if you've certainly on LinkedIn, if you've not done any connections with them, you've not done any likes on their posts, you've not done any commenting, and so I would suggest that you go down the similar route on Instagram, where if you want them to attend your networking event, or you might want to do business with them, or you really like what they do and you want to collaborate with them, I would really suggest in just every so often, every week or so, liking their stuff, commenting on it, and just saying, really love what you do. Oh, really like this, really like that piece of work. And suddenly what then happens, or what hopefully then happens, is that they then reply, or then they might start commenting on your stuff. And then you've got a lead in to then messaging them, because then your opening line to message them can be, oh, thanks for the reply on your on the post. Really like what you're doing. Would love to set up a one-to-one, or would really like, for your case, really like what you're doing. We've got loads of businesses that at our networking events that I feel like you would collaborate well with, or you get work from. Here's our link of events. But you've got a way in, rather than just going,
here's my list of events.
yeah, basically you're a business based in Kent and here's our events. It doesn't look as great, does it? And for me, then that way, by you liking and commenting, you've made that effort to support that business. So anyone that wants to go down the route of a form of cold calling on social media is not the way. We don't do it. We actually do not do it on as businesses ourselves. We did it when we started out as a company. We did it just to sort of get our name out there and get our reputation out there. But I would say, from your point of view, certainly from a networking point of view, I cannot stress enough, if you are either a business starting out, you're a small business, you're a business trying to get more work or collaborate with people, networking has been the golden ticket to like growing us for us as Impact Connect. We would, and you guys, Synergy, you were the first ever networking event company that we ever went to when we started out in February.
Oh, wow.
And we would never be where we are today without coming to you guys. We just wouldn't be. And networking, people say, oh, well, everything's gone digital and everything's gone social media. And I know I should be speaking up about social media, but I think the old-fashioned in-person networking and doing business in person is still the way to go when it comes to collaborating with people, doing business with people, and buying from people. It's much more efficient and much more trustworthy than social media. I know I shouldn't be saying it because I run a social media company, but it is the fact of it. And then that way, once you've built that trust and reputation up, then that's when you then can send your potential clients to your social media platforms that hopefully you've been posting on consistently.
Yes, yeah, because it is important. I mean, one of the things you said about posting even 3 times a week, I mean, whether you're attending an in-person event, whether you're going, you're doing online, no matter what you're doing, one thing we always say, it's consistency. We did a product called the Social Media Gym, and the reason we called it that is because there's no point doing social media once a week, really. You even if you did do it once a week, you've got to do it once a week consistently. Our meetings are once a month, and we say to our members, even if you're only going to go to one, make sure you go every month. Is so important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you prefer online? You've just said you prefer, obviously, in-person networking. Do you find that people use social media at all? I know that we do the LinkedIn Connect thing, do you find that people use social media in events? I used to do a lot of Twitter at events. What other is Instagram good for that at events to be doing live Instagram or not really? What do you
Yes
think
and
of live
no, because
Instagram?
like your format, for example, where you've got people are obviously given they're given table numbers, and then obviously they're given 3 minutes to talk about their business, and
Mhm,
they can either pitch, can't they, or they can answer questions on the table.
mhm.
And you've always made the point of, while someone is speaking,
Be
listen.
quiet.
But listen, don't be. So I think you would probably be pretty annoyed if someone then got their phone out and started recording live Instagram while they're trying to listen to a 3 minute, aren't you?
Yeah, but would you, I mean, if we was to do like, because I have thought about doing like an Instagram session, like everyone get out and do a bit of Instagram, actually live Instagram in the event,
Yeah.
particularly the big ones. I mean, when we do the big ones and we're getting like 108 people there, do you think it'd be worthwhile saying, right, everyone get their phones out, let's all do an Instagram live together? I mean, I know a lot of people wouldn't because they'd be like, no, I'm not going live.
It it would be carnage, wouldn't
I know.
it? But I think the thing is with it is that I think there's a time and a place for social media. I think
Yeah,
there is. I think there's a time and a place where you show off what you're doing. You show off your client testimonials, you show off your wins, you show off what you're up to that week. But also, there is also a place to put your phone down for 5 minutes and
yeah.
just to listen to someone or listen to someone's day. And I am a big believer that good old fashioned marketing is still a winner, is
Mm.
still an absolute winner. And I know that sounds really bad from me running a social media
No.
company, but I think I think you need to still have that know, like, and trust, and be able to actually, like now, and I'm sure you'll back me up on this, but and I'm still of a younger generation, but the problem
Cheap.
is like 18 to 20-year-olds can't have a conversation at the moment. They simply cannot have a conversation without getting their phone out, looking at their phone for 30 seconds, putting
Mm.
it back down, having a bit of a more of a conversation. And that has come from, unfortunately, social media.
Yeah, no,
And
I know. Yeah,
that's the downside to it. And that
yeah,
is that there is flaws behind it. But from a business point of view, it can be and it will be, whether people like it or not, the absolute go-to for businesses 2026 and simply beyond. It will be the place to be found. It will be the place to do business. If people want to find you, they will be finding you on social media. It is like I said at the start, the stat I pulled out at the start, over 1 billion users using Instagram monthly. I
mm.
think you would be silly not to be on social media as a business. You're missing a trick.
It's amazing how many established businesses don't believe they need to be on there. I mean, we used
Yeah,
to
I know.
say, if you're established, think about your exit strategy. I mean,
Yeah,
if your exit strategy, you're going to want to sell your business,
yeah,
surely anyone buying a business is going to want to see it's got a good social media presence before they buy it. If they've got a choice of buying a business without a social media presence or a business with a social media presence, they're going to go for the one with the social media presence, aren't they?
yeah, yeah. Of course they are, because what comes with that is that there's a whole brand there. There's a whole identity. There's a presence. There's a trust following. I think I was doing a presentation a while ago, and it's nearly 80% of consumers buy from brands that they follow, and
Mm,
that's because they trust them.
mm,
But that won't be straight away, and that's what businesses need to realize. Certainly, from an Instagram point of view, it won't be and this is where businesses make the mistake of, when they try and go with a social media provider or a social media agency, they immediately think that they are going to get a lead or a contract straight away, and that is not going to happen. And we never promise businesses that we are going to get you work either straight away or even we're going to get you work. We never do that. We never ever do that. very much a case of we'll give you the tools and we'll give you the help, but ultimately it's down to the fact of that consumer needs to trust you to buy from you. You are it, because if you go on Amazon and you want to buy something from Amazon, the first thing that you're going to do on Amazon, you are going to go straight to reviews. And if the reviews on that Google, on that Amazon page or that Amazon product are rubbish, you are not going to buy. So if you're a social media company that does not post on Instagram, you post once every 6 weeks, you post once every 3 months, or you are just posting a picture of your product, unfortunately, you've probably just gone and lost business, because businesses will just, consumers will just look at it and go, well, are they trading? Are they doing anything? Do they even care about their business? And then that way, businesses, I think, don't quite realize that until someone like us, a company, then actually just does say that point of, well, in matter of fact, you're losing business month after month after month because your consumers are actually going to your competitors, because your competitors are actually just posting consistently. And your consumers think that you're not trading because you're not doing anything, and they think that your competitor is. And that contract could have just been worth 80, 90, 100 grand. And you've just lost it because
it's strange, actually, you say that, because I remember speaking to an insurance company and he wasn't doing any social media, and he had a client that had been his for years. And it was quite a big client. It was a builder, and the builder retired and his sons took over the business. And it was time for the insurance renewal. And they went in to check out this insurance company. And the boys thought that the business had closed because he didn't have a social media presence. So they went and got their insurance. He'd been going to him for like 20 years or something. And they went to another insurance company because they thought, because he didn't have a social media presence, they thought it was closed. I mean, that was years ago that happened. And, now it must be even worse. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, James, because we're coming to the end now of this. So, if you've got any sort of top tips for people for Instagram, please.
Yeah, I would say top tips, make sure that it's a mixture between photos and videos. If it is photos that you're going to do, make sure that your branding or yourself is somewhere within the photos, because then you're giving yourself a brand identity. If it's videos, it needs to be no longer than a minute, but again, it needs to be brand identity. So it needs to be your logo in it somewhere, or you as a person in it, or a client as a client testimonial, but just make it super short, sharp, and engaging what you're doing. Make sure that your bio and your username is clear, concise, and it explains essentially what you do, where you are, and what industry that you serve. And just make sure that from a consistency point of view, try and post at least a couple of times a week, but serve and not sell, because people will switch off.
Oh, well done. That's a really good. I love that. Serve and not sell. That's really good. Really good. Thank you so much, James. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope the family's all healthy next week.
Yeah, I know. It's all going around, isn't it? So
it is. Yeah, definitely. So thanks so much for your time. We've finished the live now. And so that's James from Impact Connect Media, and he'll be able to help you with any of your social media.